Yo. Sorry, I was getting something set up. I had to fuck around and find out for a hot minute. What's going on, guys? I see you, I see Jade, I see Biotech, I see Balian, I see Valentine the stinky cat. What's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? What are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? I'm not even playing a game today, Val. What? The one day I'm not playing a horror game, and the one day of this week that I won't be playing a horror game, and you drop in. What the hell? You're always complaining I don't play spoopy games, and the one day that I'm not doing anything, you drop in. What's going on there, right? Hey. Anyway, good to see you. What's going on, everyone? You managed to get Reina Victoria? Congrats! What's up, Mr. Pockety? Got a refund on one of my orders. Used that refund to immediately buy another figure I've been eyeing. That's kind of what I do half the time. I hope you guys are all doing well. What did you guys get up to over the weekend? Very nice on getting Vina Victoria, yeah. Chapter 15 came earlier than expected. Did they release chapter 15? A new chapter or something, did they? I haven't looked at Arknights yet today, which is probably a bad thing. I should probably get that running in the background. Because otherwise I'm not gonna finish my dailies before the daily cutoff, which is gonna be bad. Okay. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. Because like I ordered this figure off Makari 2 weeks ago, and the seller changed his fucking mind after stalling on shipping, so Makari cancelled the order and refunded it. It's on later today. Ayo, is that YouTube chat? Of course that's YouTube chat, Val. What do you think it is? I always have two chats going. You should know this. Picked up parts to update my sister's PC as her birthday / early Xmas present this year. Everybody doing the PC updates. Too many PC updates. But yeah, I always have dual chats going, Val. My YouTube chat's actually been causing issues recently, so I don't know what's... I don't really know how to fix it, but that's alright. Turf Wars. Thank you for the 200 biddies, Sal. Appreciate it.
200 bits. Turf Wars.
AMD finally stopped supporting the RX 4080 she's been using, so it was time. That's fair. It's today later on, that chapter. That's fair. I don't even remember what chapter Arknights is on. I'm assuming 14 since you keep saying 15. Oh, actually, it's a new week. I can just do cheeky Arundum farms. Ha! Easy. I can just do that nice and quick and then finalize all that. Also, I have this massive scratch on my glasses, which is really upsetting. Annihilation auto clears. Yeah, they're the easy ones. I don't even know how I scratched my glasses. But anyway, now they've got fucking dirt and shit all over them. I don't actually think it is. I think it might just be like a Red Bull splash or something. Given how much grime it left on my glasses, let's actually get some proper little cleany stuff going on here. Yeah. I don't need more little glass cleaner things. Whack. Just keep doing that cheeky background. I need to get the eye doc soon. Probably need a new pair of glasses. I will probably honestly get a spare pair of glasses next year. Because I can basically get a free pair of glasses every year. Who here uses Amazon Prime Video? I don't use Amazon Prime Video. Is Amazon Prime? But yeah, I don't use any of Amazon's video services. Yeah, I think it may have just been like a splash of Red Bull. Because I went at my glasses with actual cleaning products and now it's gone, so I'm going to assume it was just a splash of Red Bull. Watch some stuff on Prime Video since it's included with the Prime cost. Tibs, Prime Video comes with Amazon Prime? Yeah, but I don't use it. I pay for Amazon Prime because I want fast delivery. I don't pay for Amazon Prime because I want Prime Video. I'm one of those really horrible people that have an Amazon Prime subscription and I forget that it exists and I forget to use it. I might give it to Val this month, seeing as how I've thought about it. Val might get my Prime sub this month. Me trying to fucking get shit off my glasses. What are you looking at me like that for, Val? Huh? Huh? You don't want it? Too bad, you just got it. You don't want it? Too bad, you just got it. I hear my own voice. You just got it anyway, Val. You just got it and you're not even online to receive it. Get wrecked, bozo. It's very good if you don't mind Japanese politics, though. The lens of allegory via half-human, half-monsters hybrids. It does the Shin Godzilla thing. Ooh, hiccup. I don't even know anything about Japanese politics, so I don't know if that'd be my cup o' tea. Japanese politics is definitely something I know nothing about, so I don't know. I probably wouldn't like it because I need to have at least a base understanding of something for me to actually enjoy it. You're also streaming on Twitch, so technically you use Amazon services in that regard? I mean, I do. I don't require Prime to stream on Twitch, though. Another game I'm playing, its second anniversary is on the 19th. Which other game is that? Biotech? I don't see a name of a game. I don't even think having Prime actually does anything for me as a streamer. I don't think having Prime offers me anything extra. Ah, reverse 1999. Gotcha, gotcha. Forgot about that. I didn't realize it's been a year, 2 years, a year since that came out. I remember when that game did come out. I remember all the people playing it. Zai was playing it, I think. I think Zai is where I actually learnt about it. Don't think it does either. Yeah, no, I don't think Prime actually offers anything. But yeah, no, I only have Amazon Prime so I can get, like, on the odd occasion, next day delivery. That's really the only reason I have Amazon Prime, because sometimes I can get next day delivery, or at the very least it can typically yoink something overseas fairly quickly. There's also certain little things that I do get off Twitch for Prime, like the free games, which isn't too bad. Free games are good, but I mean, that's definitely not the reason I do it. It's, I don't even buy all that much anymore. Like, I'm probably truthfully wasting my Prime, because I really don't use it all that much. Like, even half the time I forget that I have Prime on Twitch, and I forget to give it to a streamer. I'm very bad in that respect. I see biotech in my dorm on Arc Nights. Don't think I don't see your old PP. The old PP. I have so many 1s and 2s. Oh my god, I need to start clearing some of those out. Oh, who wants a 1 and a 2? Who wants a 2? Saray wants a 2. Who wants a 1? Saray also wants a 1. Shade wants a 1. You can have a 1, Shade. There you go. I need to keep the rest of them, though. Alright, I'm nearly done, and then we can start talking about the topic at hand, but we will continue to discuss, I don't know, whatever you guys have been getting up to for the last couple of days, last weekend, since last week, while I finish this up, so I don't forget about it, because otherwise I will forget about it. And then the day will roll over, and I'll just be like, oh my god, you flippin' clownfish, you forgot about it again. Alright, that's good enough. Oh, big fucking stretch. Alright. So what are we talking about today? I don't know how many of you guys are in my Discord server, but I did mention that today we're going to be discussing Borderlands 4. How am I going to discuss Borderlands 4 when I've never played the game, you ask? Well, we're going to be discussing everything as the external viewer. An educated external viewer, if you will, given that it is built on the Unreal 5 engine. Because everything's built on the Unreal 5 engine these days, isn't it? But yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be yapping about the Unreal 5 engine. We're going to be yapping. It's not going to be a huge discussion on the Unreal 5 engine today. There will obviously be a lot of touching base on the Unreal 5 engine because, you know, Borderlands 4 is built on it. So it is inevitably going to come up. There's nothing we can do to stop that. I don't know who's sitting in my base. Look who is sitting in your base. Old PP is. I don't have Arc Knights open anymore. Arc Knights is closed. Last I saw it was Old PP. What was I gonna say? We're gonna talk about the price tag that comes with this fucking game. I won't be showing it on screen because I'd actually have to show you guys like my Steam thing, and I'm not gonna showcase my Steam for personal reasons. Because it would take me too long to try and hide everything that I need to hide. Even though we're only going to be looking at a store page. I mean, I don't know how much of everything I need to hide, so it's just easier for me to say, sorry guys, we're not doing that. So, I mean, you guys will have to look at your own. We all see the same Steam page, so I'm pretty sure Well, except for the localization price, but yeah. Outside of that, we all look at the same Steam page. We all see the same reviews, so you know what I talk about. You guys can easily find on your own. We can all have a moment of individual looky and sees, or you could just take my word for it. Tibs trying to hide his massive library of hentai games. I don't have a massive library of hentai games. You wouldn't see it anyway because I wouldn't be showing my library page. You'd only be No, actually, the thing I'm more concerned about is that I get hentai games on the front page of Steam right now. Just advertised randomly. And yeah. I don't think YouTube or Twitch would appreciate, hang on, let me just open up the store page real quick just to see if there is one on there. I don't think there is. There was earlier today, but I don't think there is right now. There's not one right now. Tibs, they advertise based off what you buy. No, they don't. They advertise based on what I look at. Because the only game I've bought in the last month is Sonic. What is it? Sonic. Oh, that's not true. Oh, hang on. No, because I bought Mech Warrior on Epic, so that wouldn't. That's not a Steam thing. What did I buy? No, I bought that Hunter game, so that's why I mean, I do have the Hunter advertising for on here. I think. I thought. Yeah, I've got the Hunter Call of the Wild being shown on there. I don't agree with that biotech. I'm gonna die on that hill. I don't think Monster, like, I haven't looked at it. I see Calcit listed, but I don't, as Monster as an individual entity, I don't think Monster as an individual entity should ever be being chosen as something. I disagree with that heavily. My friend thinks it's the funniest thing in the world to give me random hentai games at least once a month or two, so Steam always recommends me hentai games. The other thing it shows you is new and trending games. It'll always show you new and trending games. So like, just as an example, on the new and trending list, down the bottom, there's Femboy Fuda House. I had that listed in my Steam recommendations. And I don't look at a lot of hentai games, but sometimes I see, because I look at the pictures on the side, right? I have seen that game, Pockety, and I admit I looked at it because I thought it was funny. How could I not look at that? Take a look at Arknight's Notice. Yeah, I saw that, and it's got Calcit there, so I don't actually know what it is. Like, I don't actually know if it's like Calcit or something. I'll have a look when it actually is released, which is what, the next event. I just don't think that Monster on his own should be an independent playable thing. I think that's silly. But there's been several Arknight's design choices that I haven't agreed with, so... You know, that's my opinion. But yeah, so this week I have had Femboy Fuda House actually advertised to me several times, and that has been what has popped up several times. But sometimes there's games that are like hack and slash games that show up, and I see them in the images, and like the 4 images that Steam actually advertises are just gameplay images. They're just hack and slash images. And then you actually look at the tags and they're hentai games. And so as soon as you click on it and you realize that it's a hentai game, Steam just goes, "Ah, you're interested. Game on, buddy." I'm like, oh man. I just wanted a fucking hack and slash game. Have I looked at Monster? I don't look at anything ahead of when it's released, Biotech. I'm not that horny for it. When it comes, I'll look at it. When it doesn't come, before that, because I don't like looking at shit ahead of time. Steam is like a sketchy drug dealer in the alley. Steam is like a sketchy drug dealer. Muv love, and that's more like Horrors of War. My Steam page is just flight sims. Yeah, like Steam advertises me a lot of stuff that I probably would never buy. Like Avatars, Frontiers of Pandaria. I would never buy that. I don't know why that's on my front page. Sims 4, I've never shown any interest in a Sims game. Car X Street, I can kind of maybe see that because I do look at racing games from time to time, but usually rally games. Marvel Rivals, I don't know why. I've never looked at Marvel Rivals. I know why it's advertising the Hunter Call of the Wild, because I bought a hunting game 2 weeks ago. Death End Request Code Z. I own one of the Death End Request games, so I assume that's why that's advertising that to me. Warframe, I've never shown any interest in buying, so I don't know why it's showing me that. It's showing me Armor DLC or standalones. I own Armor, so that makes sense. Celestial Empire Prologue, which, just looking at the screenshots, it looks like a city builder. It's got nothing to do with spoilers, Biotech. It's just I don't care enough. It's like, when it comes, it comes. I mainly don't look at it also off anything. Like, I don't look at it offside also because they're usually translated from Chinese, and the Chinese translations are fucking terrible. And the accuracy of the Chinese translations for, like, skills and abilities tends to be, on average 10 to 20% correct. Like, and by 10 to 20%, I mean the numbers they give are correct, but the wording is never correct. So it's just like, what, why bother? Forza is another one. I have looked at Forza previously. And then Shape of Dreams is another one I see a lot of recently, which is a roguelike, and I don't look at roguelites, so yeah. Now the other interesting thing is it's got Dying Light the Beast on my homepage at the moment, which is very interesting because it's a standalone from Dying Light 2, which I actually refunded. So why would you advertise me a game that I've refunded? Like, sorry, that's not the one, guys. Why would you advertise me a game that I hated so much that I refunded it? Marketing. They're like, maybe you want to give it another chance. No, I'm Not a Human, which is on my wish list apparently, so I can understand why that's shown up. Silk Song, there we go, Wicked Island. Which I don't think is actually tagged as a hentai game, but it is definitely erring on the side of. Let me just... Yeah, it's classed as an NSFW game, so... Is Monster just Calcit Alter? If I find out that Monster is Calcit Alter, I'm just gonna be, like, very upset. It's very hard. But if you're tenacious, if you got that tenacious little gene in you, then hell yeah, buy Silksong. It's only $20, man. What's a $20 game that, you know, what's a $20 game gonna do to you? I don't like side-scrolling, side-scroller games typically, so I won't buy Silksong. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't doubt that Silksong is an amazing game. I've been watching Reggie play it. But yeah, they're not my kind of game. New releases, like, it shows me Madden, American football. Like, I loathe American football. Why would anybody show me fucking Madden? But yeah. Anyway. It also shows me cute little games like Little Witch in the Woods, which is, you know, a game that maybe Yampy would play, but I certainly wouldn't. It's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how half of these things show up. Like this, whatever this one that I said a minute ago was, if it's even still on here since I've refreshed it. Sports games are the same game re-released every single year. They're genuinely a scam. So it's funny that you say that, Balian, because it was found that EA, so obviously the primary producer of sports games, EA actually submitted a patent where it would, hang on, I probably need to start from the start with all this. So you guys oh, my chat's doing that thing where it does that thing again. Add chat. So you guys understand that typically EA, like in FIFA or Football Club as it's called now because they're not allowed to use the FIFA brand, it has this thing where you can pay money to get loot boxes, I assume. I don't know the entire system, but then you get players out of them. And you spend thousands of dollars to try and get the best team, the best players that you put together for a custom game. I have been told that EA was found to have submitted a patent, so they've actually submitted it, so they actually have the technology you would imagine built. There's no evidence that they used it, just to be clear, but the patent and assumably the technology exists, that they would actually make the team worse than it is to encourage people to buy more. So you could have some like half a team of the best players, for example, and it would reduce the stats in a measure that you would never be able to identify just to make your team as a whole worse, to encourage you to buy more. The patent exists. Is it a scam? It's definitely a scam. It is absolutely a scam, and that's just one of many of the dodgy patents that EA submitted. And like I said, if they've submitted a patent, then they obviously have created the technology to do this, or the systems to do this. And that, I think, is probably one of the big questions that a lot of people should be sort of probing into, as to, you know, why these systems exist in the first place. I mean, we all know why they exist. EA is EA is one of the scummiest companies there are these days. And they care not about anything but your money. But, yeah. Unlike Calcet, from what I've gathered, that she isn't as serious as her. I mean, I think from the art used, I would say Monster, Quirty Fingers, if it is actually just an alter Calcet, it looks like old school Calcet. Like Calcet from when they were with Priestess. Old school Calcet. How you doing, Kendra? Thank you for the head pats. I don't know why those head pats didn't work. I didn't see those head pats. Yeah, there were rumors that they just took players down based on how many copies were in play. Yeah, there's a lot of rumors, and they were backed up by existing patents. And obviously, people called out the patents once they found them. They called out EA, and it was proven that what was claimed in the patents wasn't actually being used in the system, but the patents did exist. Ow. So yeah. There was a lot of back and forth about that for a long time. How you doing, Kendra? How was your weekend? Headpat should be built into VTube Studio, which is obviously working, so I don't know why that's not working. I could be wrong. It was good. How was mine? Mine was, I say patent funny. We're going to be homeless in chapter 15, that's all I'm going to say. No spoilers. I probably say a lot of things funny. No best redeem? Alright, I know why the best redeem doesn't work. That should work now. Somewhere a Yampy is crying. I know for a fact that a Yampy is not crying. Well, maybe she's crying. But yeah, it's yeah. EA has a lot of dodgy patents. I was looking at a lot of the dodgy patents that they had, and they are very questionable. They're money grubbing patents, and I don't know. Anybody who buys one of those EA sports games should probably be very ashamed of themselves as a human being. Thank you for the headpads. Yeah, EA has some fucking diabolical ones. I mean, I suppose you guys are questioning why I was looking at all these sorts of things. So, I mean, we might as well discuss this. It is just chatting stream, we can discuss this. So, I was actually reading up about what Nintendo had been up to, because, you know, Nintendo is being a fucking piece of shit at the moment. A bigger piece of shit than usual, I should say. And Nintendo have just been submitting patents recently in the middle of their court case against Pocket Pat. Who makes Palworld? Pocket Pat. So I believe Nintendo have submitted 3 quote-unquote new patents in order to try and hamstring Palworld. So they're submitting those in the middle of a court case against Palworld. And I don't know how well it's working or how good it's going or anything else like that, but I think it's very disingenuous and very dishonest the way Nintendo have been going about this, and anybody who supports Nintendo at this point in time, I'm talking to anybody who's bought a Switch 2, you should probably be just a tiny bit ashamed of yourselves. Because Nintendo are trying to annihilate everything in the games industry, because one of the most recent ones that they put in, is a pattern on mounting. Game mounts. Mounting a creature. So we're talking games like Elden Ring that has a horse. World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, where you have mounts that you mount and move around on. I suppose most big MMORPGs have mounts. I think it's exclusively a creature is what the pattern was. So yeah, the Final Fantasy games all have chocobos. Like I said, there's World of Warcraft. Elden Ring, like I said, has a horse. I think most of those sorts of Souls-like games, the bigger ones, have some sort of mount in them. I mean, I'm sure if I actually look through I think it actually has to be a creature, though, so it can't just be anything. So Ark, actually. And more exclusively, it's a ball-like one of the ones that they submitted was a creature in a ball-like object. So that's Ark. Monster Hunter Wilds, thank you. Ark with the cryopods, that falls under one of Nintendo's brand new ones. Kit Kat Mage, welcome in, thank you for the raid.
Kit Kat Mage 101 just raided with 15 views.
I could definitely go for a Kit Kat right now. That sounds like a good thing. Welcome in, Raiders, what are you guys up to? We are here talking at the moment about Nintendo and their lawsuit against Pocket Pair. And how scummy they're being. Hogwarts Legacy has like griffins and stuff you can mount. And they also have like a capture feature where you can stick things in the baggie. Although I think that doesn't count because it has to be a ball-like object. We're up to some Isaac on EB. So you're on, recently debuted now PNG tuber. Congrats! Congrats on your PNG debut. I hope everything went well. I hope everything went better than most debuts. Most debuts are a clusterfuck. But I hope it went well for you. And congrats on officially debuting. Or on your new debut. What was I saying? Ark. Ark Survival Evolved / Ascended is awesome. I still own 2 Meow PNG tubers, 2 Meow community. Get the PNG tubers on. I actually think PNG tubers are the way to go when you get started. I was a fool doing it. I was a fool getting a model done fucking straight off the bat. I shouldn't have done it. But I didn't have access to the same resources as I have access to now, so that's probably a very biased opinion. I'm drawing all of them based entirely from memes. Hell yeah. That fucking emote, I love it. Yeah, so the whole Ark cryopod system, I think that the way you tame things in Ark may be sort of questionably borderline in what Nintendo's claims are, but I think it would be borderline. But at the very least, being able to, like, ride the dinosaurs absolutely infringes upon one of these new patents. Hello, Luther. Wow, Luther Umbridge official. Thank you. Welcome in. Sorry, it took me a minute. I'm hoping that everything went well though, Kit Kat Mage, and I hope that you had a fantastic stream, especially seeing as how it's your debut. So yeah, unfortunately, Nintendo's doing some really, really scummy things right now, and I think that People should be very concerned. Got it right. No one gets my last name right. I do my best. It takes me a minute though. The audacity of trying to own the concept of riding an animal. But see, it's not even just that. It's like capturing anything within a ball object. Releasing something from the ball object that fights for you, which is indeed what cryopods are in Ark. You release a dinosaur, typically it fights for you. It's that sort of thing, and it's just like Nintendo with the last handful that they've submitted probably infringe upon 40%-ish of the gaming industry right now. Sorry to ask, but you can't tell if you're Australian or British. I'm leaning towards Australian though. You are correct. I am indeed Australian. Can't release from balls or capture with balls. Time to use trapezoids. Exactly. Pokemon itself wouldn't exist if other game companies enforced just their monster creations against Nintendo. Yeah. I also checked out that one game from Pocket Pair that somebody mentioned. Last time we were talking. I did check that game out. Ow, ow, ow. Thank you for the 5 biddies. I appreciate
Luther
it.
Umbridge official just cheered 5 bits.
Thank you so much, Luther Umbridge. I don't think it was Craftopia, no. I don't remember what it was, but it was very generic for, don't get me wrong. Ow. Why? It was a very generic JRPG. I'm not going to give it any more credit than that, but by comparison of what they usually do, it was a Game Freak game. Hang on, let me have a quick goosey, because I can probably very quickly find what the game is called. Because it genuinely can't be too hard to find a fucking game made by Game Freak. They did most of the Pokemon games, I did know that, but they are working on a new game and I don't remember what it was called. And I probably won't be able to find what this fucking game is called. It's brand new. They're working on it. Juicy Plum Boy, welcome in. How you doing? Beast of Reincarnation. So Beast of Reincarnation is a game that Game Freak are working on. Game Freak, the Pokemon people. And I just want to say that that game looks... It's built on Unreal, so, I mean, it'll be a fucking piece of shit one way or the other, but... The big thing is that they're actually producing a game that looks amazing. And, I mean, you guys can all look at it, doing all right, just got home from work. Well, sit back, relax. As much as one can relax. Skiing is how we're talking aggressively about things. So if you guys want to have a look at this game real quick on your lonesome, have a look at Beast of Reincarnation over on Steam, on the Steam store. And have a look at that and consider that Game Freak are the people who make the bulk of the Pokemon games. The large bulk of the Pokemon games. The game that hasn't changed for fucking 20 years. Yeah. That is a problem, in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that Game Freak are actually creating a game that looks to be like it's going to be worth playing. But we need to really ask the question of how much Nintendo is fucking strangling Game Freak. Like, how much is Nintendo actually holding Game Freak back from making a good Pokemon game so that Nintendo can continue to release Pokemon slop? Yeah, I was hearing it. All I can think of is Nintendo just wants to monopolize gaming in Japan because these patents aren't passing anywhere else. That is unfortunately not true. They submitted a bunch of patents in the US. I believe they just did 3 of them in the US. So it is very unfortunate that Nintendo are trying. You are correct that they are trying to monopolize gaming. They do have a stranglehold in Japan, so you're right that much. That is absolutely true. But unfortunately, no, it is starting to slip through legal systems in other countries, and that's concerning. Especially if it slips through the US, because unfortunately most of the games come from the US. I believe they did pass, yes. The 90s were 30 years ago? I don't know. Let me live my life, Balian. Because our government is run by geriatrics that don't understand the significance of these patents. Every country is run by geriatrics who don't understand anything outside their own walls, so yeah. Summoning an ally to aid you in combat. Mounts, the mounting system was the other one. And I believe there was something else. There was one other that got passed. I think there were 3 in total that passed US. I don't know how... I don't actually think they're through. I don't understand the US patent system. I think they're, like, being held for further review at the moment. I don't actually think they're through, but they were, like, past whatever the initial... I think it's a several-step process. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where they're initially accepted as, like, for further analysis, and then, you know, then they're approved improper. Like, I don't believe that just initially submitting a patent means that you own the rights to it until it goes through the whole system. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how the system works. But yes, no, Nintendo... Nintendo are trying to do some really, really questionable things, and if Nintendo continue to do what they're doing, I think that a lot of us are going to have not a lot of games to play that aren't Nintendo games, and given, as we just mentioned, that Pokemon hasn't changed for the last 30 fucking years, let's say that you may as well go back to playing retro games, because that's about the only thing that you'll be getting. Thank you for the hydrate. Because unfortunately, Nintendo has a lot of money because they own fucking so much of everything. So, like, I just want to... This is going to be me on a ridiculous sense. If... I just want to push this. I'm going to push this because this is something that I truthfully believe in before this ad break. And after the ad break, we can go on to talking about... we can move on to the big topic of the day, which is Borderlands. If you want Mario Kart and you haven't already bought your Switch 2, don't fucking buy Mario Kart, eh? If you want Mario Kart, please, sir, madam, allow me to direct you to Sonic Racing Cross Worlds instead. It is multi-platform. I believe it is cross-platform. It is a racing game. Yeah, it's not Mario Kart, but it is going to be the next best thing that doesn't require you to fucking cut your nuts off and hand them to Nintendo. Please consider that. It is expensive. It is fucking expensive. It's 110 bucks Australian, but you're not selling your soul to Nintendo. You are not selling your soul to Nintendo. All right, I'm going to hit the BRB screen and we will be back after the ad break on Twitch, where we will continue to talk about Borderlands, because we need to talk about Borderlands. Because Borderlands is definitely in the limelight for a lot of bad reasons. And let's be real, Gearbox is trying to cover it all up as best they can. So we're going to make some fucking noise about it. Even though I'm just a small content creator, we're going to rock the boat. Shake that motherfucker. Look, the new Mario Kart also needed an expensive as fuck console. Exactly. 700 bucks for the console and you get Mario Kart for free. Mario Kart is the top selling fucking Nintendo game at the moment because it comes with the console. That's the only reason. Let's be fucking dead honest. Anyway, ad break. I'll be back, guys. Alright, we back. Where is my forbidden capture? Where is my forbidden capture? All right. I muted music. Yeah, I made a little bit of a mess of that. Anyway. All right, we back. I've only really been hearing good things about Borderlands 4 from people I know who've tried it, to be honest. All right, I've heard very little that's good about Borderlands. I've heard it's good when it works, but that's the best compliment I've heard anybody have to say on the matter. So we're going to be discussing this glorious thing here. Now, I'm going to start with this comment here. I don't usually look at this site. This is Inkle. I don't know what the fuck Inkle is. I've never heard of Inkle. But this caught my attention as I was scrolling through stuff today about Borderlands 4. Is Borderlands 4 the new Crisis? I just want to point out that anybody who claims the Borderlands 4 is the new Crisis needs to be taking a good long look at their life. They say, you know, they mention, as I don't know if any of you guys remember, but Crisis and the Crytek engine were known as system killers back in the day. They were, that's just how they were known. They were system killers. Unless, even if you had top spec systems, which back at the time were, I think it was the 1080 Ti was the best you could get at the time. Crisis would ruin you. Now, we need to remember that Crisis and Crytek were built by the same people. So Crytek and Crisis... The Crytek engine were built by the same people who made Crisis, to the best of my knowledge and my understanding. Now, whether they were separate parts of the same team or whether they were two separate teams, I don't know. But to the best of my knowledge, it was all made by German developers. Now, the first issue I take with stories that say things like this, which this is apparently from Tom's Hardware. You have a 980 Ti right now, ooh? Or 980? I don't actually know NVIDIA cards all that well, so I don't know what a 980 is. Forgive me. Anything before the 2000 series, I'm not really all that familiar with. And even then, I'm only familiar with, like, mainline cards. So, claiming is Borderlands 4 the new Crisis? No, it's not. It's built on the Unreal Engine. Calling Borderlands 4 the new Crisis when it doesn't support it or develop its own engine is garbage. Garbage. Tom's Hardware, whoever wrote this on Tom's Hardware, Kunal Kala, go have a walk, mate. Seriously. Crisis was built as a showcase for the Crytek engine. It was initially, yeah, and then people enjoyed it so much so they made more of it. Parts of your PC are 16 years old. Whoa. Tanky machine. Just because Borderlands 4 uses all of the Unreal 5 engine does not mean that it is ever comparable to Crisis. The only game at the moment on the market that is comparable to Crisis is Cyberpunk. No other game dev has that fucking call. So I just wanted to point this out because I thought that this take from Kunal Kaur, this is a crazy take, and you probably need to get out more, buddy. All right, so as you can see, I was doing a quick search for optimal graphic settings because apparently Gearbox has been putting out these wonderful little checklists for optimal settings for every fucking card. Every mainline card. This graph doesn't actually show them all, but if you go onto the website where I pulled these images from, so these are 1440s, by the way. These are 1440 settings, which is probably why it doesn't show all the cards. If you went to 1080p, it'd probably show all the cards, but... So I just want to point out something that I noticed straight away. So let's look at this. So obviously we've got the GPUs, so all the video cards. Display mode is irrelevant, it doesn't really matter. VSync, again, it doesn't matter. You only use VSync if you have to. Anti-aliasing, yeah, if you want to. But, upscaling method. Every single one of these cards, from the 3070 Ti all the way up to the 5090, recommends DLSS. And they say that this is optimized. This man, Randy Pitchford, says that the game is optimized. I can't remember what his exact words were. I'm sure his exact words will show up in one of these many. You guys can't see all the tabs I've got open at the top here, but this is for 1440, which I personally consider to be what most people probably aim for these days. Most people who call themselves like gamers would probably be shooting for 1440. I think the average Joe probably shoots for 1080, but, and you know, I'm not gonna say you're any more or less a gamer for being a 1080 gamer, but you know, it's been a long time since I played a game on 1080. But I also own an ultra wide, so 1080 is a bit hard for me. Even if I didn't own an ultra wide though, I would be going for a 1440p monitor, honestly. And they reckon you'll get 60 plus FPS with DLSS on. So all of these video cards recommend you have DLSS on. Just as a point of notion. So what Gearbox is saying fundamentally here by even suggesting that this is the optimal settings is that the game cannot run well without DLSS, without frame generation. Like, I don't care how you want to swing the recommendation, quotey fingers. Obviously, I can't give quotey fingers because I'm just a model. But if I could be giving quotey fingers, I would be giving quotey fingers. It insinuates that the game cannot perform well without DLSS. Doesn't have anything higher than 59.98 FPS nor anything above at 1080. I mean, that makes sense. I think my laptop doesn't support 1080. I think my laptop supports a fucking weird setting. But I get what you're saying. Like, for me, I run... What's an ultra-wide? Most of the time, if I play a game on my own, like, the native resolution on my monitor is 3440 by 1440 at 144. 144 hertz. So that's, you know, that's typically the ideal is... yeah, 144 frames, but... And I also, just for argument's sake, I pulled up the AMDs for the same thing, 1440. So the 7900 XTX, the fucking flagship card, even though there's 9070s out, the 7900 XTX is still considered the kingship card. Again, look at all this. All FSR. All FSR. Again, it requires frame generation. And this man says that this game is optimized, but it cannot run efficiently without frame generation. So is it optimized? It's fucking not optimized. It's a fucking joke. Like, that's like walking in with a broken leg and crutches and saying, nah, it'll work fine without the crutches. Like, you can't fucking say that. And what we expect 60 plus FPS with that setup. We expect 60 plus FPS, apparently. I'm sorry, if a game absolutely requires me to run FSR or DLSS out of the box, that's not an optimized game. That is a joke. Now, I get that AMD don't really have a comparable card to the 5090, but for anybody to tell me that a 5090 requires DLSS, and I get that these 5K cards are designed to run on DLSS, like that is their thing, that's their shtick. That's the only way they outperform the 4000 series, really, is with DLSS. But requiring what is considered the best video card in the world at the moment to require DLSS is a joke. And then you've got fucking things like this, which is Mr. Randy Pitchford today. Customer service reports for Borderlands 4 at 1% of installs. So, do I have this here? So let's just have a look at this. So this is the Borderlands number. I'll refresh this just so we have up-to-date numbers. So we have 300,000 players at the absolute peak of Borderlands 4, which for a game costing $110 is a fucking shit joke. Just to be really, I want to be really clear and really emphatic on that. 300,000 people for a fucking $100 game is a shit joke. Given that, oh look, Silk Song in its fucking peak is 600,000 for a fucking $20 game. And as you can see, so that's what? That's the 14th of September, so that's 2 days ago. So that's over the weekend. This little hump here is over the weekend. Which obviously is where you're going to get your bigger humps. But these are dwindling numbers. So we have a slow build up to the weekend, and then as soon as the weekend's gone, we have people just leaving. So today we've capped out at a whopping 229,000 people. And it's probably pretty safe to say that, you know, it'll continue this sort of camel hump style type deal. But I would say that this number here will continue to go down. So, you know, we'll probably have somewhat around 200,000 again in the next 24 hours or 12 hours, however long it is. Because we're obviously at a bit of a down, we're on the down part here. So in another 12 hours, you know, we'll have about 200,000. And then the next week or the next day, probably 180,000. Then the next day, 160,000. You know, those are numbers I'm pulling out my ass, but it's easy. Once a game ends up on the downturn, it's hard to pick it back up. And yes, this is just Steam numbers. So we say 300,000 people on Steam. But typically, if you look at numbers across consoles as well, because this is cross-platform, so we do have Xbox sales and PlayStation 5 sales. Typically, they only account for about a third of what the PC puts out. So it's safe to say that between PS5 and Xbox Series X, is that the current? I can never remember what the current Xbox is. It's because Xbox needs a fucking proper naming convention, please, Microsoft. It's probably safe to say that the maximum volume of people that are playing this game from, let's say, the 15th, is that the 15th? No, that's the 14th. So on this particular high on the 14th, there was probably about 400,000, 450,000 people playing. Sales, I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know what their sales are. And I would very severely doubt that we will get a sales number. We will get like an active player count. We won't actually get a sales. And see, that doesn't count as a sale to me. You'll get like a play, you'll get the usual shit that companies do. Yeah, see, Game Pass doesn't count. But unfortunately, you all know that Gearbox is going to sit there and sort of, yeah, Gearbox will report it as, I don't think they'll report it as a sale. They usually don't do that. They usually report it as like active players. So the game has, I don't know, using your number, 1.2 active players. So unfortunately, yeah. Gearbox will flog this game off as an absolute critical success. And don't get me wrong, by comparison to its previous games, like Borderlands 3, for example, I would say the Borderlands 4 will be considered a quote-unquote a success. But even if I were to look at... This is considered a fun game, just as an example. Borderlands 4 is considered a fun, casual, relaxed game, right? It's not considered like a competitive or anything else sort of game like that. It's a fun game. So if we just look at the Battlefield 6 weekend, which I don't know if I will be able to pull that up. Battlefield 6 Open Beta. Can I pull charts for that? I can pull charts for that. So the Battlefield 6 Open Beta had more people playing it. An actual proper competitive game had more people playing it than a casual game in a beta weekend. So an absolutely non-committal weekend. Where you had to download the game. Where you had to download the game for no other reason than to play it, and not everybody was guaranteed a key. So people actually had to go out of their way to watch streamers to get keys for this. And it managed to draw in 500,000 people. Like, does that... I wouldn't call Battlefield. I wouldn't call Borderlands 4 a success, but... So, Randy Pitchford, though, the man, the myth, the legend, who I want to actually talk about more or less today. This man... Oh, I didn't actually want to open his tweet. That is a fucking huge tweet. Fun fact, customer service reports for Borderlands 4 at roughly 1% or so of installs. So, I don't know, how many people did I say probably at the peak? Let's just use that peak number. I know that's not a total amount of installs, but I would also say that this install number is the number that Randy will be quoting for a long time, because it's probably the only metric that's going to be viable for him to look good. More than half of the tickets, around 0.55% of customers, are reporting issues with a shift account, FOV controls on console. Another 0.055 are reporting issues with Twitch drops, and 0.04 are PC performance related. So the number that I used was what, what did I say? About 5 or 600,000? I don't remember. So that's like 50,000 people. Well, hang on. 0.04. That's like, what's 0.04 of fucking 500,000? Uh, 100,000. So apparently only 200 people, thereabouts. This is just a grab number from the metrics that I've got available in front of me. Only 200 people have complained about PC performance related issues. And if you look at Borderlands 4 on Steam, it has mixed reviews at the moment. It started off as mostly negative, it has now moved to mixed, and I will have a quick goosey at it now to have a look to make sure that it hasn't actually swiveled again. It's still mixed. 67% mixed. So apparently only 200 people have reported performance problems, when I could probably go through the negative... How many negative things are here? So there's 11,000 negative responses on Steam. Borderlands fan, it's unplayable. So the first several, the second one is actually somebody playing on a 5090 and says it's unplayable. So remember that these are just numbers that I've grabbed. Like, they're educated guesses of numbers off the numbers that I have available. So of the 11,000, closer to 12,000 negative reviews that I see on Steam, nearly 12,000 negative reviews on Steam, Randy Pitchford reckons that only about 200 of these negative reports on Steam are performance related. And the third one is actually complaints about game writing. Third one's about the price tag. Fifth one, I think that is yep, about performance, price tag. Like, I reckon I could get over 200 people just from the Steam reviews alone based on complaints about performance. So this man here talking about these metrics, you're a fucking liar. You're a lying piece of shit, Randy Pitchford. So this article here on All Out Gaming goes on to say, you know, they try to actually put numbers to what this man has carried on about. But they actually call it for what it is here on All Out Gaming. Presenting the facts in this way goes out of its way to ensure players don't really know how many of these PC issue complaints are valid and muddies the issues even further. So they actually call Randy out for muddying the waters on like how many complaints are actually going through about what. They also go on to say, as you guys can see, we don't actually know what Borderlands customer service deems valid, which with what we'll see a little bit later when I continue through all these tabs that I've got open, you'll see that this man doesn't take a lot of stock in anybody else's opinion but his own. I'll actually pull up one of these. This one in particular, just to show you the absolute fucking height of this man. Randy Pitchford, every PC gamer must accept the reality of the relationship between their hardware and what the software they are running is doing. This one has actually been checked. The publisher of a game is responsible for providing accurate, recommended, and minimal specs, since the consumers have absolutely no way to check how the game is going to run and the hardware before release. So somebody's actually called him on his bullshit. He has the community note. Thank you very much for whoever fucking posted that. And the man himself, Notch, creator of the best game arguably in history, by numbers alone. The man who made Minecraft called him out. And what did Randy Pitchford do? Or what did he deem an appropriate response to this? He fucking bit back at Notch, of all people, to bite back at. The man who built and made the most successful game in the history of gaming. Randy Pitchford bit back at Notch. That's not the one, buddy. How the fuck, how highly do you think of yourself that you bite back at Notch of all people? It's one thing to just disagree with Notch and say, look, your opinion's your opinion, and walk away. But to actually snap back at a man who has made a game, successfully sold over like 3 million copies of the game, and fucking 14 years later or whatever it's been, the game is still hugely successful. And you fucking snap back at that man as if, you know, Like, you call out Notch's masculinity. Yes, Shade, what's up? $300 million? Oh, okay. Well, 300 million then. My mistake. My mistake. Exactly. That's kind of the point, is that his sales numbers of Minecraft probably outweigh every Borderlands game in the series. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is that for anybody to snap at Notch is the bold fucking move. And we can see here that people have given Notch the 10,000 likes, and good old Randy here has got 17 likes. Randy is living in his own little fucking dream. I get that my PC is aging. Like, let's just go through some of these comments. I get that my PC is aging. I turned down the graphics immediately and was getting an unstable 50 frames in the spawn with DLSS. I can't imagine how bad it would have been in the open world because I returned it after 20 minutes. The fact that Battlefield 6 runs better than Borderlands 4 is awful. I would absolutely expect Battlefield 6 to be built to prioritize frame rate more than Borderlands 4. One is a competitive shooter, the other is a campaign looter shooter. Would you like help? Like, he always tries to say, would you like help? Like, he's trying to play himself off as a fucking angel, this man. And he snaps back at somebody like Notch, who is absolutely his superior. Another one, Randy, games that look better, play better than Borderlands 4. Look at Borderlands 2. Your product doesn't meet the standards. Minimum specs should be playable at 30. Your recommended specs don't even pull this off. Top hardware doesn't pull 60 in most cases. There is a problem. Minimum specs absolutely play at 30 FPS. In whose mind thinks that 30 frames is enough to play a shooter? 30 frames, RPG, turn-based, sure. It's acceptable. 30 for a shooter, 60 is the minimum. I'm sorry. Bro, I got a 5080. What you mean, Randy? Do I need a workstation 10,000 GPU? Do I need to make a time machine and get the 7090, Randy? I shouldn't need a frame generation for more than 70 consistent frames on high settings, Randy. Would you like help tuning for your personal specifications? He doesn't even have a comeback for that. Someone with a 5080. Because everybody knows that a 5080 should be plenty to run a game in this day and age. And then, the absolute goal of this man, I run Cyberpunk on Ultra with my PC on 60 FPS, but for Borderlands 4, I barely managed to maintain 30 FPS in medium settings. Don't tell me your game with cartoon graphics is that much. Thank you for the head pats. Feywild Fox. Cyberpunk is a different piece of software and is 5 years old. The fucking Red Engine is the new Crytek. Red Engine is a fucking system killer. It's just for 5 years, CD Projekt Red has been... I don't know where I got the worms, but hello. Welcome in. CD Projekt Red has spent the last 5 years optimizing the shit out of Cyberpunk and the Red Engine. That's the difference. And he continues... maxed in Ultra with mods at 80 FPS locked. Borderlands 4 hums and flickering in and out at 40. Cyberpunk's 5 years old, but it's a solid benchmark in a huge open world. You answered your own comment. Cyberpunk is a different piece of software. You're welcome to play it. You can also get help tuning your balance between FPS resolution features. Like, this man doesn't want to touch that he's the problem, or his software is the problem. And he's got tons of these comments. Yeah, Borderlands 4. We're talking about Borderlands 4. And this from a product which was more expensive on release than Cyberpunk was on release. And Cyberpunk uses its own in-house engine. Borderlands does not. So again, less than 1% of Borderlands PC players reported valid performance issues. So again, Randy is just doing his absolute best to try and lie about how fucking bad the problem is. Let me close these tabs as I work through them because it's a shame what happened for real. The Borderlands series was never my cup of tea. I didn't enjoy the looter shooter thing. It wasn't my... I'm never going to say that Borderlands wasn't a good series. I heard Borderlands 3 was pretty awful, but Borderlands 1 and 2 was apparently really good. I did play Borderlands 1, so I have played a Borderlands game. It wasn't my type of game. I didn't enjoy the type of game it was. But we have people who have actually bench tested this game properly. Borderlands 4 runs worse than usual for an Unreal 5 engine game. Tech experts conclude. So let's just read through this article. This article's from Tech for Gamers. I was a huge fan of Borderlands 1 2. Honestly, should have left it there. I can see how they wanted to make a full franchise out of it. They had something and they wanted to milk it, which is the way most things are these days, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. Now, whether or not they should have left it there, maybe they should have, maybe they shouldn't have, I don't know. Like I said, I don't play the game, so that's an opinion that's a little bit beyond me, but... I was kind of okay with Borderlands series existing as it was, all the way up to Borderlands 4 because of how Borderlands 4 was handled as a whole. Like Randy Pitchford coming out and saying, you won't care about the price, you will buy it no matter what the price is, if you're a fan. Like, that's unacceptable behavior. Like, I think if you're a game developer and you're determined to sell a game for a premium, I truthfully believe that it is probably, and you're determined to sell it for that price tag, right? I think it is probably in your best interest to sort of sit there and say, we're sorry that you feel that the game is expensive. Unfortunately, we need to sell the game for this. Hey, Rob, how you doing? I only got Borderlands 2, I enjoyed it, but for a couple of sessions I got bored. That's fair, Rob. I think it's, yeah, so you sort of say, you know, or this is at least how I'd handle it, and believe, you know, I'm plucking this from my butthole at the moment, so this isn't what I would actually put out. This would be like my draft, all right? I mean, look, we're sorry that you feel the game is expensive. Unfortunately, due to production costs, this is how we feel the game needs to be priced. But we look forward to seeing you. We look forward to seeing you when the game goes on sale. You know, encourage people to still buy the product after, like, at a later point. Like, don't discourage people from buying your game. Like, don't say, you're not a real fan if you won't pay X price. You don't do that. You encourage people. You're like, you know, we're sorry it costs this much. Development costs, you know, it's unavoidable. This is just the nature of the beast. But we look forward to seeing you when the game goes on sale and you're able to afford it. I mean, obviously I'd use nicer words than that, but that would be my starting draft. Or hopefully it becomes affordable to you when the game goes on sale and you can enjoy the product then, you know? You don't push people away. Never talk out of your asshole, bros. Or that thing's not acceptable now. Hey, I talk out of my ass a lot these days. I think I do actually have that. That's two of the same thing. No, I don't probably have it. I have a bunch of ones from Tech for Gamers. Tech for Gamers actually have a lot of good articles up at the moment. Yeah, the PR department probably were tearing their hair out when they heard him say that. But yeah, so Digital Foundry, who are the experts, I'll use the word lightly, because I don't actually know who Digital Foundry are, so we'll call them quote-unquote experts, concludes that Borderlands 4 runs worse than a typical Unreal Engine 5 game, which, as you guys have seen me play a lot of Unreal 5 games, you know that I have had a myriad of problems with Unreal 5 games. They've suggested users not play the game at badass settings since it pushes even the RTX 5090 to extremes. Borderlands 4 utilizes the heaviest Unreal Engine 5 features in the least efficient manner to produce subpar visuals. That's not good. At the time of writing, Borderlands 4 was mostly negative. They aren't anymore. Obviously, they're mixed. And I do believe that Borderlands 4 will eventually tip itself probably into mostly positive. Just because of the way it's looking. The other problem is that if you look at Borderlands 4's reviews, you'll see, even if you go to like the positive reviews, there's nearly inevitably somewhere someone who says something ridiculous. Like, here's a positive review, just as an example, right? Wait for some performance optimization, then give it a try. The writing is solid, much better than Borderlands 3. New traversal mechanics and satisfying gunplay make it a win in my book. The sound design is also a nice surprise, but they tell you to wait for optimization. It would be good if the Unreal Engine worked. Absolutely. Like, there's another one over here. Another thumbs up, so another positive review. Really fun, performance kind of dookie. Another positive review. You're not a Borderlands fan if you didn't spend $3,000 to upgrade your GPU for this game. Like, these aren't positive reviews, but they're positive, like, they're marked as positive reviews. So there's another one here that complains about performance. Another positive review that complains about performance. Like, people just give this game positive reviews for positive review fucking sake. So to say that this game is probably, at time of me talking about this right now, it's 67% positive. Like, it's probably not really 67% positive. It's probably closer to 60% positive because people are just giving it positive reviews because I don't know why. Because it's just what people do. I don't know. Maybe they don't know there's a negative option. I don't know. Digital Foundry has now analyzed the technical issues surrounding the game. They concluded that Borderlands 4 runs even worse than a typical Unreal 5 game, which is really absurd considering the looter shooter isn't even known for its visuals. I won't go near it, as working with a laptop 1660 Ti is laughable, really. I don't even know if that meets the minimum specs for the game. Is there minimum specs listed? Minimum. Yeah, so the minimum is a RTX 2070. So, yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't even meet the minimum, Rob. I'd say they've changed the minimum shade. The reason for this is the game relies on software Lumen, and on top of that, it also uses nanite and virtual shadow maps, which are some of the most resource-heavy features in Unreal 5. It noted it runs Borderlands 4 at a stable 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro in open areas, but falls to 30 to 40 in heavy combat sequences. But remember that the PS5 version would be a very gutted version. all of the console versions would be gutted versions of the game. Even on the highest end PC featuring an RTX 5090, Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, the game outputs 60 to 70 on 4K badass settings. This is quite intensive for a flagship GPU, and Digital Foundry advises against maxing out the game. Now, the big one. Gearbox CEO has responded to the fan backlash regarding performance, telling them to code their own engine. Yes, this fucking Muppet who doesn't even use an in-house engine of his own, doesn't even use their own engine, as if this man has a leg to stand on in this fucking argument. Borderlands 4 has faced significant backlash due to controversial statements made by Randy Pitchford. He's repeatedly frustrated over the fan base, possibly without realizing the extent of the impact his words had had. And yeah. He has also made this absolute gem of a fucking comment. If you discover your system can't run the game well by accident or wishful thinking and or don't want to try and mess with the settings to make things good enough for you, please use the refund feature. Man has just straight up told people to just refund the game. And he wonders why people sit there and go, yes, there's only 0.04% of people complaining about, you know, submitting fucking tickets for his performance. Why would you submit a ticket when this man's just like, if you don't like it, just refund it? Like, I'm sorry, what? What is the logic there? The CEO, this is the CEO, stated on Twitter that a player's system can't run the game properly and they are unwilling to adjust settings to improve performance. I mean, which most people should probably do. They should refund the game rather than settle for a subpar experience. How would you even code an engine? Now, that is beyond me, Rob. I don't know the ins and outs of coding an engine. I know sort of how it works. Coding is well outside my field of expertise. Well outside. I've always thought that coders were a different breed of human. Not in a bad way, but yeah, they're a different breed of person. And how to code an engine as a whole, I wouldn't have a clue. I have a general understanding of how engines work. I have a very general understanding of how Unreal 5 works and why it is such a horrible engine. But yeah, it's for the most part, where you'd even start, I don't know. Dated a software engineer, and every time he talked about that stuff, my eyes crossed. Exactly, Feywild. It's, yeah. And software engineers, coders, that sort of stuff, they're a different breed of person. Their brain works different. That's probably the best way I can explain it. Their brain is just wired different. It's great, don't get me wrong. They're the sort of people that probably keep the world turning for us, but yeah, they're different. He even claimed that Borderlands 4 is a premium game for premium gamers, a statement that many fans found highly unprofessional. The community believes that instead of addressing the game's issues, Pitchford continues to place blame on the players, which he does. Pitchford also deigned to mention that the game was in development for nearly 6 years. This is not an unusually short development cycle, and should have provided ample time to optimize the game as much as possible. However, when the fans pointed this out, he responded dismissively, saying, "To code your own engine and show us how it's done." Now, again, this from a man who is not using an in-house engine. He's not using an in-house engine. He does not have the right to say that. Now, if it was an in-house engine, sure. I'd understand it. Because, you know, it's their own engine. They have some right to, I suppose, defend the integrity of their product. But they're not. You're using Unreal's engine. Or Epic's engine, or whoever it is that owns it. You're using somebody else's engine. You don't get the right to defend that engine. You don't get the right to sit there and tell people to code your own engine and show us how it's done. You don't get the right to do that if you don't make your own engine. You're fucking piggybacking on the back of somebody else's work. Don't fucking do that. That's like... I don't know, man. It's like those... You know those people who show up on, like, Kitchen Nightmares and stuff? How they buy, like, frozen food for their restaurant and stuff, and they're like, I made all this! And, you know, meanwhile in the back, the fucking chef's opening a can of fucking pre-made shit. It's like that. That is exactly what it's like. Yeah, you cooked it, but you didn't actually make any of it. You just fucking showed up, chucked it in a fucking pan, and made it. He also previously claimed that the game would be worth $350 if it were to be priced that high. Borderlands would be worth buying even if it cost $350. Let's see if we can find this fucking tweet. Does it even exist? He said anything as high as $200 would be fair. This for a game that's... And let's bear in mind that that's not... Like, I sit here and I say it's $110. That's Australian. $200 American this man would be talking. $200 American. Unfortunately, they didn't quote any of his tweets, so I don't actually know where this has come from. Maybe Gamescom, maybe this video. But, yeah. Yeah, for the base game. $200 for the base game. And Borderlands has tacked on an extra $100. $90, may as well say. For their super deluxe edition. Again, I'm giving big quotey fingers, but you guys can't see it. So they've tacked on another $90. So that would be like $450 by his mark for the super deluxe edition. Sorry, guys. You get nothing physical for that. So, I don't know, let's say 300 US. $300 US, let's say, for argument's sake. Just for the price of a round number. 300 fucking US dollars for a game that gives you nothing physical in return. Like, you don't get a little model or a little statue or something else. No, you get some in-game gold stuff. Gold, quotey fingers, again. And that's it. Some skins. And this man seems to think that his game is worth 300 US dollars. Really? 300 US dollars? Ow. Hey, Axo. Can I knock that bike? I don't think I can. Yes, I can. Hey, Faye. So yeah, this man... This man seems to think that that's how much his product is worth. His unoptimized piece of shite. You're not paying attention to all that you eat? He also believes that relying on DLSS will not make much of a difference for 99% of players. DLSS is a fucking horrible, horrible thing. You scrubbing a VOD? Scrub, scrub. What do we got? We had some customer service work prove that through settings and tweaks, only being able to climb up to 120 FPS plus on PC in Borderlands 4 with 3 or 4 year old hardware. Your mileage may vary, but please consider using these tools available for you to tune your own balance between FPS, resolution, and graphics features. There are as many PC hardware components as graphic settings as combinations as there are as guns in Borderlands 4 billions. And with the right settings, you can turn a grey drop into a green, blue, or even purple gear. We're doing a lot of work on our end to help automate these settings to better pass the huge amounts of telemetry coming in, but you don't have to wait for a patch to get a nice frame rate. So basically what he's saying in this, I'll sum it up for you guys. I'll keep it simple. You could fly from to the US from New Zealand with $300. There you go. I hate VOD scrubbing, so I need to split attention, and supporting another VTuber is a good way to do it. That's fair. So basically what Randy's saying in this tweet, I'll sum it up to you, I'll get rid of the corporate shit for you, and I'll actually say it, is we don't need to optimize our game, you need to fucking expect better from your machine. Just DLSS. It's kind of like the old Arknights meme, just Surter it. Randy's just like, just DLSS it. Borderlands 4 is the sort of game, so just for clarity, right? So I'm not gonna sugarcoat any of this shit. So I have a 9070 XT in my machine, this machine that I stream on. I do typically stream with FSR on just because it takes some of the load off my machine, because I obviously stream and play games on the same machine. I don't stream on a separate machine. And FSR does actually allow me to do that relatively well. So I would argue that I would run this. This is how I would run this. I would use these settings, just to be clear. If I were to buy Borderlands 4 today, which I'm not going to, and stream it, which I'm not going to, because I don't want to support this piece of shit. Now, had Randy Pitchford not been such an asshole, I might consider it, but I'm not going to. I would go for this. I would ensure I would have a frame rate value on the screen at all times. And I would use these settings as requested by Randy, or as suggested by Randy. And I would run it at 1440. And if it stuttered, if it crashed, if it dropped below 60 frames, 3 times, he'd get 3 chances. I would refund the game. That is all he'd get, 3 chances to do it right. He would blame it on me for doing something wrong. And I'd actually release a video on it. Because look, we've got mediums here. So yeah. I would do that. And if any of those criteria were met, if the game crashed, if it stuttered, or if it dropped below 60 frames, I would fucking refund it immediately. 3 times. I'd give him 3 chances because that's fair. I think. Because if you are so confident, how did you like? I never played Borderlands 3. I have only played Borderlands 1. And Borderlands 1, I didn't enjoy it. I'll be clear again. I didn't think it was a bad game. But thank you for the hydrate. It was not my sort of game. I don't enjoy those sorts of games. But for the sake of all of the waves that this has made, and because I like to be very transparent in how I do shit on this channel, where I'm able to, of course, I would do this just to make a point. And I'm pretty sure my point would be proven in the way of a refund. That's just how it'd be, unfortunately. So yeah. He says that 120 FPS is very achievable. The urge game is to make watch weeks. Ow! Bye, why? But yeah, so essentially it is my belief that this man truthfully is not going to optimize this game. He's just going to leave it and expect people to just fucking deal with it. And I think that's shitty behavior. Unfortunately though, Randy Pitchfork will probably not bother to fucking change anything. I know that his name is Pitchford and I keep saying Pitchfork, but you know what? He seems to be waving a pitchfork back at people, so that's his new nickname. Well, I thought you would have enjoyed Borderlands 2 and 3. I know, it's not my sort of game. I don't think they're bad games. It's kind of like Warframe. I've spoken a lot about Warframe. I don't think it's a bad game. It's just not my kind of game. So no, it's not my thing. So yeah. He believes that less than 0.1% of players would be able to detect the latency difference in a blind test because the latency was a key focus here. Anyway, we have ads over on the Twitch, so I'm going to go to a quick BRB and we'll continue as soon as the ads are over. All right, get some drinks, people. Ads are over, we are back. Final Fantasy is a completely different game from Borderlands. Final Fantasy is a completely separate genre. Welcome back, everyone. So anybody who can't tell the difference between a game running DLSS and not running DLSS or any frame generation, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are people who, you know, couldn't tell the difference, because, you know, I've met people who can't tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi, but I would say that less than 0.1%, that is a fucking raw comment. If I swapped that number around and made it 10%, I would probably believe it, but Interestingly, many users in the replies have noted that suggestions from Randy Pitchford cannot be implemented in Borderlands 4 without editing configuration files. So, good work, Randy. Must be nice to live, you know, in another planet. But moving on to the tweeter. The tweeter! Or X, or whatever the fuck it's called. Elon Musk's baby. You'll notice that Randy has been slugged with another note. Note. Every PC gamer must accept the reality of the relationship between their hardware and what the software they are running is doing. The main contention PC gamers have is that the game is poorly optimized. A recent video by Digital Foundry will explain. So this would probably be the Digital Foundry video that one of these previous articles was based on. Possessing the latest hardware does not mitigate the poor optimization to a great degree, but it does erase the fact that it is poorly optimized. So that is an absolute statement that I have been sort of heralding for a while. But he is screaming at people to reach out to customer service now, which nobody's going to do. Nobody does that. People are going to complain on Reddit. They're going to complain on any other number of forums. They're going to complain on Twitter. They're going to complain on Steam. Like, people aren't going to go to customer service, who typically fails people 9 times out of 10 these days. And especially not when the man himself says, well, if you're having a subpar time playing our game, just refund it. Like, okay, I'll just refund it. Like, you can't just sort of throw people to the wolves and then expect them to come crawling back to your customer service. Exactly. They'll complain while they'll get heard. And talking to your customer service is not going to get anywhere. Like, their customer service, I guarantee if I went to their customer service, it would be the most generic copy-paste response. They would ask me for my system details, obviously. And then they would probably have some sort of sheet or spreadsheet or something, which just has, like, a list of video cards. Like, now, where I got these ones from, like, these are just images, right? These are raw images, but they did come from a page of actual listings, which had, Borderlands 4, what are these? These are system configuration. That's not it, hang on. System specs and features, I think this might be it. NVIDIA PC specs and optimizing. So this has actually come from a web page that has every card listed with what things, like, I guarantee I would get a copy paste response for one of these. So I don't know, if you have a 5080, they would just send this list to you. They would just be like, try the game on these settings and get back to us. And if this didn't work for you, you'd get back to them and they would probably tell you to, oh, well, try it on a lower settings. Like, I guarantee they wouldn't help you. They would give you the most bare bones response in the world and then expect you to do 90% of the work. Like, they would not have an answer for you. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have all day to sit there going back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. And this might take more than all day. This might take 2 to 3 days of going back and forward with customer service. Trying to get a game to work or perform satisfactorily. Like, it's not something that... Like, I don't want to do that. I just want you to give me an answer. Like, an answer. A straight answer. This will fix it. And so let's just assume I have a 5080 and I do this. I spend 10 minutes of my time doing all this, and then I've got to play the game for another 10 to 15 minutes to see if it actually works. By that time, the person I'd spoken to probably has another 20 tickets ahead of him. It doesn't work. So I've just spent, what, fucking half an hour of my time testing it, an hour of my time testing it, then I've got to submit a ticket and wait another indeterminate time to get a response. And then once I get a response, it may not even come that day. I might need to wait until tomorrow until I get the response. And then I read their response, and then I make the changes that they suggest. And then I have to test it for another half an hour. And if it doesn't work, I then have to submit another ticket, which I may not hear back from until the next day. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, fuck it. Give me my money back. Exactly, Rob. You'd be a beta tester then. I don't get paid to beta test. I'm not a QA tester. I didn't sign up for this shit. Feels like you guys are expecting too much out of the customer service agents when it's the game devs. That's the problem though, Faye. They've put the onus on customer service. Like, we as customers can only work with what we've got. Like, once the product is released, and as I've mentioned before, old mate here says that, is this the one? Yeah, this post here. So Randy is basically saying in this, we'll go back to this, I know I spoke about it a minute ago, but Randy has basically said that the development team has zero interest in optimizing this game further. Maybe they will, probably they won't. Like, the game dev team is done. They'll fix bugs, but they're not going to optimize. So now it's no longer in the dev's hands to fix the problem. The problem is now in customer service's hands, because that's where everybody then goes. And the problem is, who else is a person gonna, like, I can't talk to a developer. Customer service is the only problem I've got. And again, I run a 9070 in this machine. If I run these settings and the game stutters, crashes, flickers, does any number of things, I can only go to customer service to fix that issue. And customer service is going to go back and say, oh, well, this is the NVIDIA site. I'm not going to try and find the AMD one. Oh, well, have you tried this list? They'll give me the generic list. And I'll say, yes, I've tried that. And then they'll go, well, drop some of the settings down. I don't want to do that. Like, okay, what do I drop, Mr. Customer Service Rep? You tell me which of these settings, upscaling quality performance, just to be fucking clear already. Well, that's the problem that's the problem to start with, Faye. They can't help me anyway. Everything I'm doing at this point on is, if what they've given me to use doesn't help me, they can't help me further. So let's just say, again, this is what I'm supposed to use in my system. If I do this and it doesn't work, what do I do then? Which one of these which one of these settings do I change to get better performance? And they will tell me to just randomly lower settings until I get to something that maybe hopefully works. When, again, you weren't here for this, Faye, but again, it's FSR. So all of these, and in the NVIDIA ones, they're all DLSS, right? No game should require frame generation off the bat. That's how I know this game doesn't work how it's supposed to work to start with. It's how everybody knows this game doesn't work how it's supposed to work to start with. So at some point in time, you know, when you need to run DLSS on a 3,000, no, sorry, how much are they? 4,000 Shade? 4,000 Australian? How much are the 5090s in America? Okay, 2,000 US. And they fluctuate by about $200 either way, yeah? 200, $300 either way, depending on which one you buy. So, if you're telling me that I need DLSS on a fucking $2,000 video card, there's a problem. And the problem isn't my system. Because the only way I can get a better video card beyond that is to buy something that costs $10,000, which are the development cards. Like, it's... And yes, I get... Randy ain't not Randy at all. The problem is that once the developer puts it on customer service, regardless of anything, it becomes, whether it's fair or not, it becomes customer service's problem. Unfortunately. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm not saying it's anything. I'm just saying that once a game developer puts their product out and the CEO of the company then says, it's not our problem anymore, it's no longer the development team's problem. It then becomes customer service's problem. And unfortunately, people expect customer service to know exactly how to fix a problem. And I guarantee that nobody who works for Gearbox, or probably any customer service in this day and age, can actually tell you exactly which of these settings to change. This very vast list of settings to change to actually get, like, the problem fixed. Like, you guys watch me play this is a good example for just to throw out there. You guys watched me play Chronos last week. It stuttered. It every time stuttered. I tried for how long? An hour to fix it on my own? I think. I could not find what fixed it. I could not find a fix for it in the hour I spent trying to fix it. So just the generic saying, just lower the settings, quotey fingers, that's not a solution. That's a blanket statement. Because I went through every setting in the game and lowered the settings. Like, none of it fixed it. I could not fix the stuttering. So, yeah, for somebody to just turn around as a blanket statement and just say, just lower the settings and hopefully it works, like, that's not helpful to anyone. Because in another hour's time, I said I fucked around with Chronos for an hour, right? In another hour's time, I'm just going to send back another support ticket and say, well, I've lowered all the settings. I've done what I can. It's still not working. It's still stuttering. What do I do now? And then, as everybody knows, they will inevitably say, just update your graphics drivers, because that is the bottom line. That's always the bottom line. Update your graphics drivers. And 90% of the time, you'll have the most current graphics drivers. Stable graphics drivers. and they'll tell you to update to like a beta driver, which is probably fucking horrible on its own. I'm not, like, I don't want to blame customer service, because it isn't their fault, realistically. But the problem is that once you dump a problem on a department, whether it's right, wrong, or otherwise, it becomes their problem. Yeah, customer service is getting pooed on from high. And unfortunately, Randy is not helping the situation at all. Like, when the CEO is basically hammering the problem onto customer service, that's a problem. I don't think that's right, honestly. That's a very shitty situation to find yourselves in. But yeah, yeah. Especially when you see things like this. These comments that, you know, every gamer must accept the reality of the relationship between their hardware and what the software they're running is doing. That's not an acceptable comment in any stretch of the world. Can I open this and actually... Oh, yeah. Let's fucking mute that, because that's got to be a copyright music. So let's have a quick look at this video, which is Digital Foundry, the ones who actually were talking about the optimization.
Welcome to this, the 231st edition of DF Direct Weekly, our weekly show discussing the latest gaming and technology news. Joining me on the panel,
I don't actually know.
Show first of all, Alex Battaglia. Hello.
Let's just skip this through.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about Borderlands 4 here. We were kind of warned by Gearbox's Randy Pitchford that, you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff addressed in the day one patch, which may explain why we didn't receive the game.
Addressed in day one patch, but remember that Randy Pitchford also said that the day one patch wasn't necessary. Remember that.
Literally appeared on store shelves. Alex, you have looked at the PC version. We were sent the PlayStation 5.
It's also worth noting that
we'll get onto those in due course. But Alex, you
2 hour vid, I'm out. I'm not watching this for 2 hours, Rob. I'm only watching the first part of it.
On PC, which kind of lays the template, sets the expectation for all the other versions.
Because a lot of this is.
So where do we begin?
I think we should
PlayStation
begin,
6. Anyway,
I would say with the usual things that I try and flag in a PC version of whether or not this thing stutters, which is a very important question to ask when we are talking about Unreal Engine 5 titles, right? That's been a key thing that everyone's been talking about the last 5 years. I've been talking about
something that I've been complaining about for a long time. Unreal 5
stutter. And
everybody knows now.
That, what you'll notice when you get in the game on the Ryzen 7 9800X 3D, there was a shader pre-compilation step. It took around 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
2 minutes of shader compilation. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's still pretty bad.
I would say, especially in comparison to some other titles we've seen running on the same engine. And this is a large open world game with a lot of, I would say, unique shaders because they have a lot of just random weapons and like random effects you can do. You know, like there's like tons of different stasis type effects in the game and whatnot. So I was a little worried when I saw that. And then I got in game, and when you immediately get in game, I think one of the first things you actually see when you do get camera control is a shader compilation stutter.
Excellent. The very first thing you get when you get control is shader stutter.
When you do play through, I played through like I would say like the first.
That's the first thing you get when you get control. Love my model. Thanks so much. Welcome in.
Number of them.
Juros.
You'll definitely see what they coincide with. It's like the first time I shoot an enemy.
Let me know how to pronounce that.
Like death animation plays. The first time a grenade type goes off. There's like different types of grenades, obviously, in the game. A lot of the first time stuff. The first time you pick up a weapon and put it in your
DF are great if you're nerding out.
The different types of weapons always triggers the shader comp stutter.
Joro is fine. Thank you for the raid, Joro. I appreciate it.
See some
welcome in, guys.
For the first time. Those all trigger shader compilation stutters.
So I was kind of talking over this guy, but what he's basically said was anytime you do something new, so grenades, shooting a new gun, everything like that. The first time you do it, it still compiles shaders. You get shader stutter, which is horrible when the shaders are supposed to be pre-rendered.
This was a little bit surprising to me because one, they have like even in the first like area, this happens with like the first enemies you see, and I would have thought they would have included that in the pre-compilation step. Also, it was a little
welcome in, Raiders. How are you guys doing? What were you guys up to?
The first visual one you can see right before you start the game with like a dedicated UI, but there's also another shader comp burn right when you get to the main playable area of the game. After the
after you leave the loading area, you get another fucking shader stutter.
There's as the cutscene is playing, there's this cinematic with claptrap.
Like there you go. There's a big hiccup there.
And you can totally see
there's
that
another one
is doing shader compilation burn in the background because the frame times get super wonky and the CPU goes up to 99%. And that is a very telltale sign of shader compilation also being done. So there's at least two that are dedicated.
Yeah.
And it's just weird to see them missing kind of super obvious stuff that you do in a first-person shooter, like shooting your guns and shooting enemies or seeing enemies.
Pick up a gun.
I feel like they missed
stutter.
an opportunity here.
Like, that's horrible,
and I do
guys.
think it does make the experience feel less polished. Now, the shader times you're seeing there, the frame times you are seeing here, are on a 9800X 3D. Not everyone has that CPU.
And that's a 9800X 3D that's actually hopefully working properly. That's shocking. But thank you for the raid, Joro. I appreciate it. Welcome in. I hope you guys had a good time over Joro's stream. We're just talking about Borderlands 4 and the drama that comes with it. I'm probably not going to watch this whole section of this whole 25-minute thing. He pretty much sums up what we've been talking about anyway. I was hoping for a little bit more information on the topic, but we didn't really get a little bit more information on the topic. These are all, what are these? Are these the responses? No, these are the posts by Randy Pitchford. So as you can see, Randy Pitchford doesn't really have a lot of anything going on here. This one's got 1,500 likes, but I don't really know if that's just because he got fucking community noted. Because most of his other stuff just have very limited likes. But if you even look, like, this is going back to his replies in the recent thing. While you offer help on tickets, people at Nexus Mods are releasing actual fixes because they know more about Unreal 5 than all of your amateur studio does. Can you post a link? If they've got more help to offer users, I'd love to help signal that boost. So, as usual, modders are already on the Nexus fixing Borderlands 4. How bad is that? That modders, people who do this shit in their free time, are doing a better job than people who are paid to do the job. Fix 1 removes de novo? I doubt that. De novo is a fucking rotten thing. If you like the graphics and style, then I recommend early games. Maybe come back and back to 4 in a few months. I will not come back to 4. I won't play 4. I like talking about it. Now, normally I wouldn't talk about a new game unless I was interested in it, Rob. The reason I'm talking about Borderlands 4 is because this man, the man I keep mentioning, Randy Pitchford, he has been talking himself and this game up a hell of a lot. Like, he's been making a lot of noise about this game, for better or worse, for richer, for poorer. I don't know what you want to call it, but he has been talking this game up like no one can fucking believe. And because of that, I have decided that I'm going to talk about this because I've seen over the last few days of release, to be getting close to a week now of release, that there have been complaints non-frickin' stop about this thing. And Randy has just been dying on the hill as hard as he possibly can. So there's people here that are talking about the field of view patch on consoles. I don't don't know much about that. I don't know where this has come from. I don't know what this post has come from because I can't see it. Wait, here we go. What do you think I should have on my settings? Because the NVIDIA ones are crap. Also, wouldn't it be better just to have a long shaded compilation to address the stutter? Or is that not possible? I saw you tweet about the various options. So this person's running a 5080 with an X3D GPU. You should be in good shape. Run that on 1440p monitor. Recommend 2 inputs to the G8, so you're running it split screen. What FPS are you getting? VSync off. So he's basically just given the list here. I reckon anytime you touch customer support, that's what you're gonna get. You're just gonna get the fucking same old slop that he's been telling everybody off. See, now this is the other thing. I've seen you mention turning volumetric fog off multiple times. But you can't, so apparently you can't turn volumetric fog off. You can only set it to low. Volumetric fog. So I have seen in a lot of games that volumetric fog does nasty things. I'm pretty sure on the Unreal Engine, volumetric fog is a horrible, horrible setting. Volumetric. So there's, oh, that's cloud shadows. Volumetric fog, yeah, all of his settings keep saying set to low at best. There's no off there by the looks of it. No response to this poor guy, though. I don't know where everybody gets this 4K from. Look, I'm a little inclined to believe that if you're playing a game at 4K, you should probably be a little bit realistic. But yeah, I just can't see. Yeah, this man is dying on this hill, and I feel that everything that he's doing here is only making a bad situation worse. There's another person calling him out. He's playing a weird game by looking at his tweets, though. If you look at his tweets, he's kind of like, half the time he responds like really, really aggressively, and the other half of the time he responds like trying to offer help. I don't get the game he's playing. Like, I think maybe somebody might have told him to fucking turn it down. Somebody must have had words to him. But I want to sort of finish up this chat based on this. Ex-Rockstar devs suggests studios were too quick to adopt Unreal Engine 5. And I'm super inclined to agree with that. Many games using the engine run poorly, and a Rockstar veteran wonders whether the industry made the switch too quick. He believes using custom engines like Rockstar's Rage made the right choice. I believe that's right. I think if Rockstar had have swapped to UE5, not that I believe they ever would, but stranger things have happened, cough cough CD Projekt Red. Yeah, I can't see why people are using Unreal without any, like, grounds to do so. So this is the actual post. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that man's name because I'll butcher it. What is your opinion on the current devs using Unreal 5? Many games facing optimization issues. We all know you guys are the best at it. Did you guys work RenderWare's architecture during 3, VC, and San Andreas? Any tips for devs on optimization? Thank you. It's interesting how quick developers were to ditch their own engines and jump over to Unreal 5. I think Rockstar did the right thing by sticking to Rage. It's true, though. Like, I don't want to jump too hard on the gun of CD Projekt Red, but I think when you guys see Cyberpunk 2 come out, we're just going to call it that for brevity's sake, I think you guys will see a significant decrease in the game's visual fidelity and how it plays. I think Cyberpunk 2 is going to be a wretched game. Like, if you think Cyberpunk was bad on release, I think that you will see Cyberpunk 2 being 20 times worse. Because I cannot see Cyberpunk 2 working well on Unreal. Like, not a game of that scale, not a game that they want to look as good as Cyberpunk. Like, they will have to retch everything out of the Unreal Engine. And I can't see it working well. I really can't see it working well. Because, again, they've spent, like, we saw Randy say that, oh, well, Cyberpunk is a 5-year-old game. Yeah, but they spent 5 years optimizing that game. They've spent 5 years doing their absolute work on ray tracing. Like, ray tracing works beautifully now in that game. I mean, if you don't have a card that really supports the ray tracing, it's still a bit wonky, but when they initially released the ray tracing, it fucking annihilated systems, and now it works well. Like, I can play Cyberpunk on absolute, like, the highest settings they have, with ray tracing on whatever its highest setting is, because it has a funny name. I don't know what the highest ray trace setting is. And I can still crack 60 frames. I think path tracing did hurt it. Path tracing knocked it down to about 30. So path tracing did hurt it, but yeah. At the same time, I wouldn't exactly say that 9070 has particularly great ray tracing capability. It's better than it ever has been. Like, it's AMD's certainly frontier for ray tracing, but it's not an NVIDIA card. Like, if you had a 5090, for example, I imagine that the ray tracing on that would be chef's kiss sort of thing, you know? But yeah, I mark my words, Cyberpunk 2, when it releases, will be a mess. An absolute mess. And I do believe that anybody who jumped ship from their in-house engines over to Unreal 5 made a fucking wretched mistake. Like, ID is still doing in-house. But yeah, unfortunately, Konami abandoned their own engine. Hangar 13 dumped their own engine for Mafia the Old Country, which is a game I was interested in until I heard it was built on Unreal. And then I kind of just went, you know what? I don't really want to deal with that. And that's the problem these days. Is like, for a lot of games that I'd be interested in, i.e. Mafia the Old Country, I love the Mafia games. They're great games. They're good fun. But I don't want to have to deal with hours of trying to fuck around and get it to work. So yeah, it's one of those things that is not going to age well. Atomfall was UE5, yep. I had some issues with Atomfall. I didn't have a lot, but I had some issues. But don't forget that Atomfall was a very restricted game. Atomfall was a very instanced game. Like, it was small maps, they were all segregated. Like, it didn't really have any huge open world things. Like, apparently Unreal works really, really well if it's small. Like, say, a Bethesda game where anytime you do anything, you load a new area. Apparently Unreal Engine works really well in those sorts of instances where everything is very minimal. But the second you have, like, a big world, apparently Unreal Engine just falls apart. Cyberpunk 2077 team actually cares about the game. Exactly. Unfortunately, though, Cyberpunk 2 is going to be on Unreal, so we can say that they no longer care. I don't think he doesn't care about his game. I am under the impression that Randy here thinks too much of his game. I truthfully believe that this man thinks that Borderlands 4 is the next fucking GTA. Like, I think this man thinks that Borderlands is a lot bigger than he thinks it is. And unfortunately, that just seems to be the way it is. But what do you do? I mean, you know, again, he's dying on the hill, so I don't really know what you want me to say. I'm glad that he's getting community noted. I am glad that this is all coming up and that, you know, eventually he's not going to be able to hide behind whatever bravado he has. But I think that it has gotten this far. I think somebody on whatever board 2K has, I think it's 2K. Is it 2K? Yeah, 2K. I think that whatever board Gearbox and or 2K have, they probably need to very seriously consider this man as CEO, because he's doing no favors for the company. He is doing no favors. Especially when you say, well, if the game doesn't work well, just refund it. Like, what the fuck is that? Or the game should be worth $200 US. Who says these things? Like, arrogance. It's arrogance, unfortunately. I don't know what else to say. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have much else to add to that, though. I mean, if you guys have got something to add, by all means, throw them out there and I'll yap about it a bit more, but that's about all I have for today. Tomorrow, though, we will be going back to Kronos, just so you're aware. We will be doing more Kronos tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but this week. Regardless of whether I finish it or not, this week will be the last week of Kronos. How is Kronos? Kronos is... It's a slow game. So take Dead Space, if you've played a Dead Space game. Slow it down by about half. And that's about what it is. I'm oddly, and I don't know why, but I'm oddly invested in the story. And I think that's kind of the idea behind the game. I think it is more of a story-orientated game than a shooter. But, yeah, it's... I don't know why I'm invested in the story. Probably... I don't know. It's weird. It's not a game that I feel I should be invested in. He's a moron. The I shall die on my hill, on this hill with my ego type of moron. Exactly, Biotech. That is exactly what Randy Pitchford is at the moment. This man is absolutely a man that will go down with the ship, even if the ship shouldn't have been on in the first place. But I don't understand it. But no, Kronos is a very good game for what it is. It's a very simple game. Just because of how slow it is. It does stretch you for ammo. I will say that. It's been terrifyingly stressful for ammo. But yeah, I don't know. I've been invested in the story. I want to know more about what my character is. I don't think it's quite as simple as what it is. Like what the narrative sort of would initially suggest that my character is. So yeah, I don't know. It's sucking me in, and I don't know why. And I'm hoping that by the end of the game, if I do manage to finish it this week, I'm hoping that I won't be disappointed. Like, I'm hoping that the revelation, if there is one at the end, will be enlightening, because that will make me really happy. Because then I can say that Kronos is a game that it's how can I best say it? I don't know, it's not really a game, it's more of a story, if that makes sense. I mean, it's still a game you play, but yeah. That's the best way I can explain it. And it's kind of, it's a game where you're constantly hearing things and there's constantly stuff on the ground that could maybe get up at some point in time. It doesn't always get up, but it might maybe. So it's a game that's, the horror is omnipresent. Even if there is no horror to be had, the horror is omnipresent. The threat is omnipresent. But, yeah, no, I've been enjoying it. It's a little bit weird because it's not quite like, Dead Space, where you have to, like, dismantle things. It feels the same as Dead Space, so your brain goes there, but yeah, it's... I don't know, I'm really enjoying Chronos. I have many good things to say about Chronos. Been playing a game called Bone Totem, and it's like that. The actual action moments are so few and far between, but it's so consuming with the horror and anxiety. Yeah, it's a lot like that. It's like, if you've ever played Dead Space, probably take out half of the enemies. Like, just outright remove half of the enemies from the Dead Space game, and that's what it's like. And just add sounds, more bodies on the floor. Just constant, you know, sounds and squelchy and roars and breathing and that sort of stuff. And that's pretty much Chronos. It's been good, honestly. And push more of the environmental background suspense, yeah. It's definitely an environmentally terrifying game. The horror is more in your head than it is in front of you. And I think it's only going to get worse just on the basis of the description of the game. Because apparently, I don't know, I could be wrong just on the basis of what I've seen. But apparently you start seeing more things the longer you play, so... yeah. You start seeing and hearing more things, so I don't know whether that'll actually happen, because so far it seems like those things are, like they're little interactable bubbles, I guess. I haven't actually just seen them do their own thing. So, I don't know whether it'll just start happening as a part of the course, or if it'll... or if it'll just start happening without any sort of interaction. But yeah. It's been good. Honestly, it's been good. Yes, Biotech, what's up? Yes, my VODs are on YouTube, so if you want to catch up with what's happened, they are on my YouTube channel. Or if you're happy to just drop in tomorrow and just watch on from where we are, then you can do that too. It's up to you. Man is just getting melted. If I have the time, Def, I'm live tomorrow, so we'll see. No, that's fine. I mean, if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. I understand. Read my last comments as they're about Chronos. It's a good slow burner with suspense paranoia. Yeah. That is pretty accurate. It is very suspenseful. I have definitely been walking around and you hear like breathing or growling like immediately to your left or your right. And it's not okay. It's not okay. And then you swing around expecting to see something and there's just nothing there, and it's just, it keeps you on edge. The sounds in your head are not the ones. But yeah, unfortunately I don't. To leave off with the Borderlands thing that we started on though, I don't think the way Randy has done this is very good. I honestly hate knowing that a company has just dumped their customer support into the fucking fire. I think that's a scummy thing to do. I know that a lot of companies do it. But I don't feel like just being, you know, dump your game, say, no, the game is fine, and then leaving your customer support on the front line is the way to go about it. I think that's a very shit thing to do. You know, what's the bare minimum? Oh, we're looking into it. That's the bare minimum. Not, it's fine, you guys need to have better expectations. Talk to customer support about it. Like, because honestly, how does the flowchart work? How does the flowchart work? It goes, person contacts customer support offers whatever they offer. Does it help? Yes, no. If yes, customer happy. If no, customer support offers further support. Customer walks away for the second time. Does second lot of support help? Yes, no. The likely option of those at that point in time is going to be no. Customer gets aggravated. And the longer this chain goes on, the worse it gets for the customer support person who has to deal with this largely infuriated person who spent anywhere from $100 to $200 on a fucking video game. I feel sorry for them. I do. I get that they have a job to do, but I don't think that this is in the customer support's role. I don't feel like this is in their job description. Because ultimately, it's going to come down to people just demanding customer support for something that the customer support person can't help with beyond just lower the settings. And that's not helpful. Like, that is just not helpful. Like, imagine you came to me with a problem and I just said, I'll just do this until it works. Just do X, Y, Z until it works. And then you go away and arbitrarily attempt what I said. And then you come back to me an hour later and it still hasn't worked. And then I just send you away and tell you to do something else, and which you may or may not have done already. But every time you come back to me, you then have to wait 24 hours to get a reply. That's the difference. So, like that, and that's going to infuriate somebody by day 2. Somebody on day 2 is just going to be like, I'm not happy. And unfortunately, it's not something that you can do as live support. Because it does take a long time to go through. Like, once you've passed that initial system specs problem, so once you've done this, there's very little anybody can do. Like, I don't know, I imagine that scale 1 would be then to go turn volumetric fog down, turn volumetric cloud down. Like, I would expect that the development team, hopefully, have given customer support a step-by-step guide on, like, how to go through this. Not just here, give them these, and if that doesn't work, hopefully try something else. Yeah, and then once they go through that, it's like, oh, make sure there's no antivirus open, make sure there's no VPN open, make sure there's none of this. So, like, they just go to superficial shit. And then you talk to, and then after day 2 or 3, you get to a person who hasn't even looked at what your problem is initially. They won't have looked at any of the DX diag information you've sent them. And then they'll go, oh, have you got the latest drivers for your video game? And you're back at square one again. Because, you know, say Jeff, who you spoke to on day 1, and Bob, who you spoke to on day 2, are on their day off, and now you're speaking to Larry, who's day 1 on his job. You know, he's just started, Larry's just started his work week. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And Larry's got to start at square one. Well, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? That's not, you know, look, I don't want to blame customer support because there's only so much customer support can do. But at some point in time, people are going to get frustrated with customer support because customer support doesn't have the fucking support that is needed. Because customer support knows nothing about how the game is built. But unfortunately, that's who the development team have thrown the problem at now. It's poor. I hate it. I hate that it happens that way. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I reckon they should take half of the development team off. Whenever a new game comes out, half of the development team should come off development, and they should be forced to fucking troubleshoot anything that comes in. And then on week 2, the other half rotates. And customer service staff or customer support staff actually just deal with legitimate customer problems, like the Twitch drops not working or email accounts not working, like actual problems that customer support can help with. Cyberdeaders, hey, how you doing? They should be forced to live stream the minimum spec PC. It's that sort of thing. I feel really bad for customer support, I do, but at the same time, if you're working customer support for one of these game companies, surely to God you know what you're getting into. Surely you know. And, you know, having spent a lot of my life troubleshooting games, especially recently with the Unreal 5 games, you know, telling me to just lower the settings doesn't help me. Because, again, I like to reiterate back to the Chronos stream last week. I spent an hour troubleshooting that stutter. I could not find a way to fix it. I could not know. I could not find what was causing the stutter after an hour of troubleshooting. I just couldn't. So, you know, what? I honestly just dropped the settings down to lowest and just left it. I couldn't find an individual setting. And so this now comes down to this point of like, okay, well, let's assume that this doesn't work for me. Am I just now to drop all these settings down to low and hope for the best? Like, what? And then just look at a game that probably looks like fucking a sweaty ball sack? Like, what have I got here? What are my options? And then you've got these ones, like the 9060, like, just dumps down to low. Hello, feeling like Fuentes. How you doing, bud? Ow, thank you for the hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate and the stretch. Because, you know, it could be any one of these things. Like, I've played games where volumetric fog and cloud have just destroyed the game. So, you know, if I was any one of these customer support things, that would be my first thing after saying follow this list, is fucking dump these down to low and see how you go. But there could just be an Unreal 5 thing. Seeing these specs for Borderlands make me depressed about having a 7800. I don't even see the 7. You don't even get one. You get nothing, mate. No 7800 for you. Hang on, let me see if I can find the AMD ones for you. I don't even know where I got these from. Where did I get this from? What is this page called? There we go. There we go. I got it. We got it. We found it. I know I have an ad break on. We'll talk about it after the ad break. We can talk about this after the ad break. This might actually not be on the 1440 list. This might actually be on, yeah, 1080. This one is for 1080, yeah. The 7800 is not on the 1440 list. Yeah, they recommend FSR all the way up. The 7900, FSR. 9070, FSR. It is optimized. It is perfectly optimized, Fuentes. Yeah, requires frame gen as well. It's shocking. Absolutely fucking shocking. Come on, ads. Hurry up. I want to keep talking. All right, we have ads that are done. Huzzah! All right, so I did find it. It's all good, Fuentes. I found it. Be gone, Bezos. I found you. You're in the 1080 settings. You don't get 1440 settings. So we're gonna need you to have some FSR on quality. On Quality's not bad. Quality's alright, even though FSR on quality is probably dubious. Those are alright settings. Hey, you've got very highs. Now, can we just point out something interesting that I just sort of noticed off on the side? The 9060, it's set to lows. That's crazy. I'm not sure what FSR is. Expedition 33 was a well-optimized game. It ran very well. But it was also, it kind of fell into where Unreal works, so I kind of give it a pass. It's not like this. Now, honestly, if I had expendable finances, if I had expendable cash, like let's say I was a big streamer, like even half of Asmongold, for example. Just because that's the first name that comes to mind. But I was making enough money to just buy a fucking game. I would actually buy this and I would do what I said I would do. I would run it on the settings that they claim on stream so you guys could see it. And it would get the 3 chances. It'd get 3 chances. If it stutters 3 times, crashes 3 times, or drops below 60 frames 3 times, out the door. I want a refund straight away. And the only reason I'm so pedantic about that, check the 7900 XTX settings. There you go. This is for 1080. This is the 1080 list. If you want the 1440 list, there's the 1440 list. FSR is set. I don't think it's predetermined. FSR usually, like, it depends. Like, it's on this, just as an example, it says balanced. So I don't know what balanced is, because it's not predetermined. Balanced is anywhere from like 50 to 60%. It depends on the game. Different games optimize it differently. Like, fucking Space Marine 2 has an actual fucking slider that you can change, so... A lot of games actually have, like, some sort of slider. Gotta hope the updates will fix some of this shit, I hope. No. By the looks of it, they are not intending on touching anything. They are not planning on optimizing the game further, by the looks of it. Everything that their CEO has said, because you've come into the back end of all this, Fuentes. Everything that the CEO has said would indicate that they have no intention of optimizing further. If something is fixed by coincidence, then it will be fixed by coincidence. But it does not look like they're going to go out of their way to optimize further. So yeah, it's a bit miserable. Well, Gearbox, you're not getting my money. Dying to fire, kindly Fuentes. Yeah, I think a lot of people have the same sort of mental train as that. I think it's more honestly because of I don't think it's got as much to do with even Gearbox and the attitude towards this game. I think it's their CEO. I honestly think their CEO has been the one to bury this. Had the man kept his mouth shut, I think this wouldn't have been such a poorly received game. But because he was, you know, he came out and said, oh, the game's worth $200, $300. Like, dude. Just shut up. Yeah, it's not the one. I think he's done more harm than good. Well, I don't think. I know he's done more harm than good. So, I don't know what to say. The man is just, he's not a bright spark. Honestly, he's not. But yeah, I don't have money to throw away, so I won't be buying Borderlands 4. And I would encourage anybody to not buy Borderlands 4, but that's just my opinion. Maybe you're a true Borderlands fan who would pay $350 for the game. As per Randy Pitchfork. For me, the fact that developers now release unoptimized games that barely run on the best hardware is insane. Honestly, not a fan of this gaming generation. I think it's more of a laziness thing. I think Borderlands is honestly the outlier in that the CEO is sort of standing by this is how it is, you know? I don't think any other game developer has kind of done what Randy's done by just dying on the hill of this game is as good as it gets. I genuinely don't believe that any other game developer has been so stupid. I mean, I've heard some crazy takes from game developers, but this is new. This is a new level. I don't think Blizzard ever actually said anything bad about Diablo 4. Blizzard's was Diablo Immortal, the mobile one. You guys have mobile phones, right? They also ate shit with Classic WoW as well. They fucking ate big shit with Classic WoW. I went over that like last Tuesday, I think, where they were like, you don't want Classic WoW, you don't want Classic WoW, and then fucking 6 years later they released Classic WoW, and hang on, I actually saw, and I don't think I'll be able to find it again, but let me see if I can find it again real quick while we're talking about Blizzard. I will see if I can find it. I won't make promises. Do it, let the hate consume you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this graph. There was this one graph that somebody had made. Actually, that might be it there. Yeah, this is it here. Alright. Alright, I've got the graph of Blizzard's copium, guys. This is it right here. So now, understandably, this isn't a full graph of Blizzard's full tenure of World of Warcraft, but so it comes from Legion, which, as you guys can see, Legion flopped on the face. So they reckon that around the launch of Legion, it was around this level. So shit, basically. Battle of Azeroth, a whole bunch of people come back, and then left. Warcraft Classic spikes up higher than even Warcraft Legion, and then starts to dip back down. gets a little bit more interesting. And then a new release. And then flops. And then even when Burning Crusade Classic comes out, so the first actual deal, like expansion pack for Warcraft Classic. So Warcraft Classic went to Burning Crusade Classic, if you're unfamiliar. So Warcraft Classic runs as... It runs parallel to how Warcraft actually ran proper. So Warcraft Classic then went to Burning Crusade, then Wrath of the Lich King, and then I think in the middle of all this you'll find... Cataclysm? Yeah, Cataclysm. So, even the first release, it just dies off. So people just stopped playing WoW Classic when it went to Burning Crusade. Wrath of the Lich King Classic, no one came back. Warcraft Dragonflight, that's retail Warcraft. Got a spike in players, got it back up. Record post-stability launch and player growth. But look at what happened during the period of this record post-launch. World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore. Back over here. Warcraft Seasons of Discovery, which the first Seasons of Discovery was apparently amazing. So, So, Blizzard considers this whole everything here, where they've released fucking 6 things at the same time, a win. Like, this to Blizzard is a win. They had to release 6 fucking products to get the players back. And Blizzard are like, yeah, victory! Like, no, guys. That's not a fucking win. That's not a fucking win. You're huffing copium. And I think if you look at Blizzard's graphs again, they've just fucking, like, after this little hump here, they've just fucking plummeted back down again. Because this Seasons of Discovery went into Season 2, and Season 2 is trash. I think around this point in time, they also released, like, the anniversary server, the World of Warcraft anniversary server, classic anniversary server, which is about to roll over to Burning Crusade. So I think people are fucking starting to bail from that as well. So yeah, I mean, Blizzard are coping very hard. But I don't really have any actual graphs that show that I know are actual graphs. So, yeah, I can't really bring that up, but that is what a current developer views as a win, releasing 6 products in the space of 6 months. And getting a whole bunch of players to come back and check it out, and that's considered a win. How much money did that cost? Probably not much, honestly, but... And then I'm told The War Within was a fucking dreadful DLC anyway, so... Yeah. I don't know, guys. Ever since they were bought by Microsoft, they're looking to put anything with a positive spin out. I just don't think that the current development teams of any big studio, actually understands what a player wants. Like, I'm convinced that they have absolutely no fucking clue what a person wants. Like, World of Warcraft should have died here, I think. Legion was when it was supposed to die. I'm pretty sure Legion might have supposed to have been the last World of Warcraft expansion, but I could be wrong. Or maybe Cataclysm? It was either Legion or Cataclysm, because I think Cataclysm was before Legion. I'm not sure. But one of these was supposed to be World of Warcraft's final like expansion pack, and then they just kept fucking dragging the horse, you know? Exactly. EA doing the same thing with Battlefield. Battlefield went back to its roots. Everyone's happy all of a sudden. Oh my god, isn't that amazing? The development team is giving the people what they want, old school Battlefield, and all of a sudden Battlefield's amazing again. Everybody's interested again. Isn't that fucking weird? Fucking hell. Who'd have thought? But yeah, you are right also, their Javelin system is trash. Imagine listening to the community? Who listens to the community? Blizzard was demanding, like, people demanded Warcraft Classic for how many years? 6 years? I think people were asking for, like, really, really hammering the Warcraft Classic thing around the launch of Legion. So, before Legion, we'll say equivalent point from Legion launch. So we'll say around this point, and then as soon as they release Warcraft Classic, oh, look at this! A player spike! A constant player spike! People listen! Oh my god, Warcraft, Blizzard listened! And they got people to come back, and they lost it. Look, yeah, Fuentes, microtransactions I have nothing against. So, if I'm not gonna do it now. But if you ever watch me play Warcraft, Total Warcraft, which I do from time to time, you will notice that, well, you won't notice because I never open it, but they have a whole bunch of microtransactions in Total Warcraft, right? They are exceptionally expensive, but we're not going to talk about the cost. But that is how Turtle WoW maintains its service. They have a bunch of microtransactions that you can do for just shit in the game. So they've got like mounts that you can buy. The most expensive mount is the most expensive mount I think is $2,000. No, not $2,000. $200. 200 euros. Sorry. Where the cheapest is like 10 euro. They're all the same. They all go the same speed. So you can, you know, if you want to, you know what? I might. Hang on. I'll open up Turtle WoW real quick, and you guys, I'll show you guys. Because we are talking about this, and I do, you know, I'd like to give you guys examples, so. I don't know how loud this is going to be, by the way, so sorry in advance. And I get that this is an independent thing, like it's not related to a big studio or anything else like that, but you guys are just gonna have to guys are just gonna have to deal with that. Let me make sure that this isn't gonna show anything dodgy on chat, because I can't trust fucking world chat and these things. Are you gonna show up for me? Maybe? Maybe? No, I don't think you are. I don't think this is actually going to show up. Oh, maybe that's it. Hang on. There we go. Alright, so, you know, you guys have seen me play this a couple of times. I haven't played it a lot. But if I go... Whoop, that's not what I want. I want... So this is their donation rewards page, right? So this is... So 300 tokens is 30 euro, just so you know. So 100 tokens is 10 euro, okay? That's very expensive for a fucking race change, I get that, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, like, all these things that you can get, they don't help you in any way, shape, or form. Like, you can buy mounts, right? So here's the cheapest mounts, 20 bucks, 20 euros, right? I can buy a 20 euro, well, there's one for fucking 10 bucks, 10 euros, right? Or if I'm really fucking keen, I can spend 200 euros and get a fancy Azure Spectral Tiger in whatever color I want, you know? But I don't have to, because that mount doesn't go any faster or slower than the little $10 dude over here. It just looks fancy, you know? And I appreciate that. You know, you got little companions here that you can pick up. 20 bucks for a little fucking thing that floats around. 10 bucks for something that floats around. It's got some fashion stuff that you can get here. It's all very basic stuff. Roleplay skins. Which are all, you know, these are 15 bucks. Fucking what's 15 bucks, you know? And that money goes into keeping the servers running, right? Different skins. Now, why did I even bother to talk about this? Because everything that they have there as a donation form is nothing. Realistically, if I pick up any of that stuff, it gives me no benefit to anything. Now, some of them, like, let me just open those back up. There's gameplay stuff, right? So you can buy these things that let you, I think that one is like glamour. So it lets you change outfits, but you need the tokens for it. But it just means that you don't have to go to an NPC in one of the cities. A sacred vessel filled with essence of a moonwell, allowing tailors to craft mooncloth anywhere under a loon's blessing. That just means that every 24 hours, you don't have to go out to a moonwell to do that. You can just do it wherever. So this is all quality of life stuff. Adds a companion that provides you with ammunition. Just means that you can buy ammunition here as opposed to going into one of the cities to buy ammunition. It doesn't give you anything special. It just means that you don't have to go to one of the ammo dealers in the city. And so on and so forth. Like, nothing I purchase from the store gives me an advantage. You know? And I think that that is the way to do microtransactions, under the assumption that you don't do it like Blizzard, who sells stuff for fucking $60. As like a base level. But yeah. That's kind of the point I was trying to make on all that. So I do believe that microtransactions are beneficial and good for every company. I do believe that every company should do microtransactions. I just believe that a company needs to be very, very careful with how they implement it. Like, a lot of people are saying they don't want microtransactions for, say, Battlefield 6. Now, if you gave me skins, there are skins in Battlefield 6. Now, as long as you don't make those skins ridiculous, like the fucking current ones in Call of Duty, for example. Like, I don't want Beavis and Butthead. But if you were to give me, like, different camouflage patterns, unique camouflage patterns, I'd consider it. I probably wouldn't buy them, but I'd consider it. And that just appears to be what they're doing. They're just releasing very modest skins. I don't think they'll ever do that, Shade, because I think the way Battlefield 6 is designed, the custom scenarios actually let you pick like different eras of history. Like you can make a scenario that is in X history era, I think. At least that's my understanding of it. But yeah, I think microtransactions do have a place in games, in all modern, well, most modern games. I just think that a lot of game developers take advantage of it, and a lot of them also sort of jump on the boat long before they need to. Like, a game releases with fucking microtransactions, for example. No game should be releasing with microtransactions. Microtransactions are something that you release after the game is stable and working. You know, when people aren't having fucking optimization issues, when people aren't crashing, when people aren't having game-breaking bugs, like 6 to 12 months after the release of the game, that's when you should start having microtransactions start to come in. And even then, they should only be cosmetic and only relevant to the game it is. So you shouldn't have Nicki Minaj in fucking Call of Duty, for example, or whatever the fuck it is. You know, that's fucking Fortnite's thing. Just leave it there. Leave it at fucking Fortnite. It's not the one. Darth Vader, yeah. Like, everybody just expects that from Fortnite now. That's just a Fortnite thing. I don't want to see that shit in Call of Duty. Not that I play Call of Duty, but you guys get what I'm saying. Anyway, I will wrap it up there. I will be back tomorrow with a game. I will actually be playing Chronos tomorrow. I'll be playing Chronos all week, as I said. And regardless of whether I finish the game or not this week, this will be the last week of Chronos. Thereafter, I'm not sure what I will be playing. Can't wait for Sidious to run my fade on Fortnite. Yeah, so yes, regardless of whether I finish the game this week, I will definitely be only doing it this week. I won't be doing Chronos beyond this week. After that, I'm not sure what I'll be doing. What month is it? It's still in September, isn't it? So I obviously won't be doing anything like Battlefield. I will probably be doing some, maybe Sonic Racing, but I don't think I'll be doing it on my stream. I'll probably be mostly doing that with, like, Konori. Outside of that, I don't know. Maybe Turtle WoW, we'll do Turtle WoW stuff. I'll be doing Turtle WoW. I won't be doing a lot of Turtle WoW, only a little bit. And obviously, on Tuesdays, we do just chatting, so if there's something you'd like to talk about that is game-related, by all means, throw them in my suggestions channel. Let me know that it's something you want to yap about, and I'll look into it. And if it's something that I could get like a good yap out of, then absolutely, we can talk about it on Tuesdays. Yeah. Preload's on October 3rd. I know, I'm waiting for it. I'm hanging hard. Hanging fucking hard. Anyway, thank you guys for coming in and talking. Take care. Take care, Biotech and Shane and Fuentes. Everybody else who is here lurking. I appreciate all of you guys. Let's see who I can yeet you guys off to. Let's see if I can find somebody other than Nari to yeet you guys to today. I did see some Assassin's Creed. I am going to yeet you guys off to Jane, Victoria Alguas, because I don't usually get to raid her, so I will do that. Just because I always raid Inari, so let's raid somebody else. They're playing Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. But yeah, take care, everybody. Have a good morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever the heck you are. And yeah, I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Come and chat, or lurk, or be spooked, or whatever it is you'd like to do. I don't know.
Who's gonna get shanked tonight?
I don't know who's getting shanked in Victoria's stream. That said, make sure you look after yourselves. Hydrate, eat, stretch. Definitely stretch. And yeah. Prepare for Kronos tomorrow, where we try and figure out what the fuck our fishbowl-headed dude is. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.